Welcome to Kanoi Wanyai Broadcasts. We'd like to welcome you today on this program. This is your broadcaster, Sangwadzi Spiwe Kachidza Mapfumo tinokutambirai pano paKanoi Wanyai. Veswari kutiteera, all our followers on Facebook and YouTube. We'd like to welcome you to today's segment, which is fantastic. I am so looking forward to today's program. We will be talking to the famous Dominic Benhura. So I'm going to wait a little bit and see more of you coming in and like and subscribe and share with other people so that we get more of our friends to join us in this fantastic interview that we're going to have with Dominic Benhura. I see some of our followers here. Michelle goes, Kanoi, Sangwadzi, Kanoi, Mr. Benhura, Tapinda Sangwadzi, Moroi from the UK. Yes, please let us know where you're following us from. I know we do have our followers who are all over the world and would like to invite everybody. Those in the United Kingdom, tell us who you are and where you are. Those who are in Australia, who are in New Zealand, we get people from everywhere, New York and Toronto. Tell us who you are, where you're following us from. And we are going to welcome you this afternoon once again. This is your Sangwadzi Spiwe Kachidza Mapfumo. So today, our program is going to be in English mainly, but where we need to say in Shona, we will. However, what we do is we welcome our guest, who is Dominic, to welcome the people who are following us. Please come in, Dominic. And tell them who you are, where you're from, what you do, and tell us your mutupo. That's what we do. Kanoi Broadcasts is a program that is when we started it initially, it was to showcase people from Mutoko and to bring our customs. And we always do that in Mutoko. We address people by their Mutupo. So go in and tell them who you are.
Hello, everybody who's watching. My name is Dominic Benhura. I'm a sculptor by profession. And thank you so much, Sangwadzi, for having me tonight.
Fantastic. We would like to know what your mutupo is.
Oh, I'm a Shumba.
Oh.
My children is Shumba, yeah.
Okay. Mutoko, look, those are the ruling family, are the Shumba family. So we would like to welcome you. I'm sure most of these people who are following you, some of them are Shumbas or they are related to the Shumba, to the totem Shumba. Welcome. Today is an amazing day. As I said earlier on, I am totally honored to have the opportunity to speak to Dominic. He's a huge figure. He's a world-renowned sculptor. And this is a story of humble beginnings. And to me, that goes a long way. That's the whole idea that we have on on our Kanoi Wanyai, bringing ordinary people who are doing extraordinary stuff. And people who are just ordinary people who have risen to heights that you could never, ever imagine. And I had a previous discussion with Dominic, and I can tell you, this is a huge figure. He is well known all over the world. He has his sculptures in a lot of galleries around the world. In the United States, I believe you have the New York, what is it called? The New York Art Gallery. you have your stuff in there. And not too long ago, you were in Indiana, and a city called Carmel, they've actually declared a day called the Dominic Benhura Day. And we're going to talk about all this in today's conversation. But again, I would like to bring this man to you to speak of his beginnings. I had conversation with him, and I want him to share his story with him, where he came from. It's mind blowing, because to me, I just could not imagine how a person who came from Murewa, who was born in Murewa, and never could have ever imagined yourself shaking hands with the likes of Nelson Mandela, the likes of huge people. You're going to tell us the kind of people you have met, right, Dominic?
Yes, sure.
Okay. So tell me, Pindam Darir, tell us, who are you? Where did it begin? What's your story? Who are you? Where exactly in Murewa were you born? And tell me the story of your life.
Yeah, I was born in 1968, 1st October 1968. I was born when my father passed on. He died in June, and I was born in October. So I was basically brought up by my mother and my auntie, who is my father's sister. So I only started school when I was 9, but by then, when I was about 4 or 5 years, I used to head cattle in order to support my mother financially by heading cattle of our neighbors, so that we would get maybe finance or a little bit of food to eat. So during that time, whilst heading cattle, when the cattle were fed, they would normally lie down and rest, then I would play around with clay. So I learned a lot of sculpting with clay back there in Murewa, in an area called Matongore. It's like, in Murewa, it's like 5-10 minutes from Murewa Center. That's where I was born. So basically, I used to sculpt a lot because I had nothing to do whilst the others were going to school. So
Because mom couldn't
I,
send you to school then, and all. So you didn't go to school when others were going to school when they were 6, 7 years old. So yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
So yeah, I spent most of them just doing clay molding sculptures with clay until when I was about 9. That's when my auntie decided to take me into a house which was like maybe 10 kilometers away in order to enroll me at a school. But then the problem was also I didn't have a birth certificate, so my auntie's son made a plan to, as my guardian, to get me a birth certificate. That's when I then enrolled at Kambarami School, where I did my grade 1. So I was so good at school, maybe because I was 9 years old, so such that I was really excelling, that they decided to take me to Tafara then in Harare. And also I had some kind of cultural shock. It was my first time to see street lights, to get into town. They actually drove me in a pickup truck, at the back of the pickup truck, and showed me Harare and the traffic lights and a lot of people. It was really amazing, and buildings, which was really new to me. So basically, I wore my first shoes when I was about 9 years. And the shoes were not even mine because I was part of the school choir at Tafara Primary School. So a friend, I borrowed some shoes from a friend, which I wore, which were very tight then.
Because
But
they were not your size.
yeah, they were not my size. So, but luckily, when I came to Tafara, my auntie's son was also a sculptor. So there were a couple of sculptors who were sculpting together. And some of them went to the National Gallery to study art. So when I saw them, I was so fascinated by them creating work from stone. And yet, unlike me, who was used to working with clay, whereby, so I was fascinated to see people actually creating by taking away whilst I was used to building, putting together. So with stone, you actually take away to bring out something. And when you make a mistake, so the interesting thing for me was, then these guys must be very smart in their brain, such that they don't make mistakes. They were really making beautiful work. So I asked them if I could help them, with their work. And they were so amazed because I had the technique to do it, although it
How,
was a
o-
different, yeah, yeah,
how old were you
yeah,
then?
about 10, yeah, about 10, yeah. So I started working with them, and they were amazed how I could handle the tools and create the forms. So I started working on small, cheaper stones from what they were producing, the bigger pieces, and they liked so much those miniature pieces, such that people were coming to their workshop. Customers then, there were a lot of tourists back then in the early 79, 80s. So they liked my work very much. They started buying them. So that encouraged me a lot, such that I didn't spend most of the time playing soccer ball, plastic soccer balls, which were being done by most of the kids in our street in Tafara there. So people started buying those work at that tender age. That encouraged me very much until I did all my primary education, to the extent that then I asked my auntie whether I could pay my own school fees, because I thought I was making really enough money to do that.
Were you
And
making a lot of money? I mean,
yeah,
oh,
for my age,
by your
yeah,
standard then.
I was competing very well with those big guys, so it was very encouraging. So, but I was saving the money though, but I thought maybe as
Where
the
was
success.
mom?
But mom was staying in Chitungeza. She was selling vegetable. She was a vegetable vendor there, living in one room in Chitungeza. But I was staying in Tafara. So I continued doing like that and paying for my own education until when I got to past my O levels, enrolled at Oriel. Girls were the first group of boys to be mixed with girls at Oriel girls. There was Oriel boys and Oriel girls. But I was doing mathematics, chemistry, and biology. I was doing very well, but then somehow I just decided that I could change the life of my mother and my younger sister, who was my mother remarried when my father passed on. So I decided to quit school altogether, and it didn't go down well with everybody, including family members and neighbors, because I was doing very well at school.
What form
But
were you?
yeah, I just enrolled for Form 5 just for a term. Then I decided to quit. So the
Why?
teachers were not so happy, because I thought I would change my life also, and I didn't want to be a doctor or anything. I felt as an artist, I think I would still make it. So it didn't go down well with everybody, because there's an often they thought if I've got educational qualifications, then I've got a solid future. But I just felt otherwise. So there was a little bit of friction with my relatives whom I was staying with at Tafara, such that I had to move away from there to go and rent a house in Kwazana area in Harare. So I approached the Chapungu Sculpture Park. There was a sculpture park where we had residence programs for artists. But luckily, he knew my work because he used to visit us at Tafara. So he knew I was doing very well. He was buying most of my work. So I told him
Was
I
that,
left school. Yeah,
was
I
that
wanted to sculpt
Guthrie?
full time.
Was that
Regas,
Guthrie?
yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes, yes. So he also tried to encourage me to go to school and then come back and then do art as a hobby or part time, but I made up my mind. But in the end, he said, well, I'll give you this space. I know your work. You are very original. You produce work which is different from the norm. So they gave me residency opportunity to work from there. But I think within 6 months, I managed to buy my first house in Zara Segwa. So it was
Six
really good.
months.
Yeah, when I left school. But unfortunately, during that period, I'd asked my mother to stop doing vegetable vending. So she didn't understand why. Then I showed the POSB bank account. So I showed the money which was in there, which I told her that could sustain her for at least a year without her working. So unfortunately, then she decided to go. She said, no, I cannot just sit. Maybe it was the rain season actually when I left school. So she said, no, let me go to Morewa and then maybe I'll just plant some crops and come back to Harare. So I said, Mama, I'll buy you a house, definitely within a. So I didn't want her to go, but she insisted. So I had to build quickly a hut because it was almost rain season for her to go in, because we no longer had a Kumusha then, a rural
Mhm.
home. So I had to build one very quickly hut, a big round hut, so that she could do a stuff farming from that hut. So she went there, but I told her she was not supposed to work. I would hire some guys, which I did. And I had some people with cattle and to do everything for her. So she
How
went to
old
my
were you? How old were you when you were thinking like
like
that
around
to
19 or
take care of your
so.
mother?
Yeah, no, around 19, I think. So she went there. Unfortunately, when she came back, somebody just called me that she had just collapsed. And
She collapsed and she passed away.
yeah, so I went to the hospital in Chitungiza. Then, yeah, I asked her, I could see if she could, they had written like all around on her bed. But when I got there, I called her. I said, "Do you know me?" And she said yes. And that was that. She passed on. So, but unfortunately, within 6 months, I managed to buy a house. So she never got to see it, even see my kids.
Mm.
So anyway, I continued like that. Then I looked after my sister together with my brothers, and then started traveling as well. My first
How
trip
did you
was
start traveling? How did you stop right there? How did you then, because obviously what we're hearing here, you
Mhm,
responded to a calling. For you,
mhm,
a young man who was doing very well in school, who was doing sciences, arts, and everything, you were doing very well in school, but something
mhm,
told you this, you have to do your sculpture, this is where you belong, and you left school. That was a calling. And maybe you should always thank Guthrie to for allowing you to use Chapungu Village, because I know I used to go to Chapungu Village because they used to have all kinds of amazing pieces out there. But for a young man like yourself, that time at 19, you had bought your own house, right?
mhm.
How did you break into the international market? How did that happen? The first one.
Yeah, naturally, because yeah, if you look at the history of Zimbabwean sculpture, most of the work was very stagnant. Oh, no, not stagnant. The style was more like it was just faces, very solid.
Mhm,
But then I
mhm.
was doing these whimsical pieces, playful, and I was doing plants. I was doing different pieces from the norm. I think that's why people noticed me. Catherine noticed me. But then the National Gallery at that time didn't take my work because it was not like what was being they were used to.
Mhm.
But Catherine told me that you know what, continue doing that because I'm sure with time, with your creativity, you will be much bigger than most of the big guys there, or you'll be part of those big guys.
So
Such
what
that
was your style? What was your style? How was your style different from the traditional ones, which is the Mnyaradzis and all those other guys who were doing
yeah,
sculptures? How,
they were very strong pieces which they were producing, but more spiritual, like more.
mhm.
Uh, how can I say? How can I say it? Maybe more about our culture, maybe
Okay, all right.
ancestral pieces and stuff like
Yes.
that, which I really respected.
Like,
But for me, I didn't have that in me. Maybe because of my gay background, I wanted something happy, so I started making happy. I wanted pieces which were playful
yeah.
when nobody was doing them. So as a result, I can claim that I was one of the first people to put legs, to put hands, which I really and to do pieces which were how can I put it there with yeah, quite different and happy.
Sort of figurines
Interaction, yes,
with pictures, yeah.
figurative work, and
Yeah.
I think with figures, then the proportions have to be right. And
You are you. If I may interrupt you, I think you pretty much brought the mother and child piece into to the existence of the art, the sculpture in Zimbabwe. Everybody, you can find a small mother and child thing, but I think most of your pieces were very much related to that.
yeah, it's true because like I said, I was brought up by my auntie and my mother, so generally I'm just biased towards women and children, because they brought me up. So and also the faces. When I looked at the faces of the pieces, I didn't, I didn't see them. They were not so happy to me as a little boy. So I decided to remove completely my faces on my pieces. So my pieces do not have faces. You
They're
see,
just round. They don't have a face. They don't
just
have
round.
facial features.
Yeah, but then I didn't know it would play very well internationally because then they can be mothers and children of the world. And children, mothers and children, they play basically the same games anyway. So if I go to Asia or to Dubai or to America or to Kenya, because sometimes I do regional shows, they love them and they just see themselves in that. And somebody, even if you don't have children, maybe you have a little niece or a cousin,
Mhm.
it relates them. That's why I also add color to my pieces, because I know ladies, they want to be colorful, just like what you're wearing now. And they just make me happy, because I thought, I wanted to bring happiness to people. Although sometimes I talk about social ills, like yeah, violence, and also I did a lot of pieces during when they were HIV. There was HIV stigma a lot, because I lost one of my brothers back then. So I made a very huge piece, which I called our HIV friend.
Where is it?
It was bought by Chapungu Sculpture Park, but it was in Europe. I think it's in the United States. It's very huge, at least 3 meters tall, and maybe about 2
Is it one of Is it one of your earlier pieces, the HIV one? Because that's what, like, way back in the 90s, right?
90s, yeah, maybe somewhere, yeah. It was one of the earlier pieces. But when it was in German, I could see people in tears, because the figure which was in the middle was very thin, and he really was suffering. So I wanted to also use my work to try and to remove the stigma which was attached to it back then. So
Dominic, how do you do this? Where do you get, first tell me, where do you get your stones? Are they specific pieces of stones from certain areas that you use? Are they soft? Is it soft stones? Like, I know soapstone, but a soapstone is a very soft stone, right? And what kind of stone do you use, and where do you get the pieces from? The pieces of stone.
Luckily in Zimbabwe, we are so blessed with so many different stones from different parts of the country. If you go to Inyanga, they've got different types of stones and colors, Chueshe, Guruwe. But most of the stones, they come from Guruwe, along the Great Dyke, that belt of stones. Yeah. So we get a lot of, and from Toko, we also get what is called lepidolite there, and dolomite as well. And
dolomite from Toko.
Yeah, so we get a lot of stones from different parts of the country.
Do you do vedite?
Yeah, you do vedite? Not much. I don't really like it, no. Because you find vedite, and it's very hard also. People who use vedite normally they do those craft type of art with little machines, like dentist type of tools. Yeah. So you can't work them with hand. So basically, I do most of my work by hand, so you cannot work by hand. I like creating with my own hands, yes.
Okay. Now, when you see a piece of stone, how do you come up with what it's going to look like? Because if you see a piece of stone, do you touch it and it tells you what it was? Do you think those stones have a soul? How do you come up with an idea when you see a piece of stone? Do you touch them, or do you look at it, or do you do I don't know. Tell me how you get started with these things.
Yeah, actually, the other thing I had forgotten to say is when I started sculpting, when I was about 10, 11, 12, during school, we had holidays. The architects would invite me to their offices to train as an architect. They also wanted to send me to give me a scholarship. And Mick Pierce, the one who did design the Eastgate here in Harare, Eastgate Mall, and that went home together with Peter Jackson.
Yeah,
they thought my designs were so good that I could be a very good architect back then. So during school holidays, I would go to their offices also and learn architecture. So which was very good. Then now I work from my sketches. Then I have my ideas first. Then I look for the right stone to sculpt. But what I do, because I've got a sculpture workshop which I call studio, so I just bring in a lot of stones so that I can share with other artists. There's a little way of giving back to the community since 1994. So I've got other artists working from my studio, and some of them are also traveling around the world, which is really nice.
Do you teach them?
Yeah, some of them are seasoned artists who just come to work from my studio, but I do a lot of teaching. We also get a lot of students, sometimes kids on attachment from universities, like University. But unfortunately, we only get mostly private kids from private schools. Those are the ones.
I want to show a little video of some of your stuff here, so that people
on the 1st of October 1968, Legendary sculptor Dominic Benhura started sculpting at the age of 10. During his artistic career, Benhura has so far managed to put up an impressive diverse exhibitions both locally and abroad. He has traveled extensively to all 5 continents since 1991 to date for some solo shows. Benhura is internationally known for his stone sculptures, mostly importantly, dealing with humanitarian issues, family values, and the delight of the natural world, not only in Zimbabwe, but the world over.
When you create art, it's not for commercial purposes or what people would think, but it's a genuine way of expressing how you feel about what inspires you as an artist in general, be it plants, animals, or human beings. For me, when I start producing work, I'll be so curious to see what will be the end product also, because we are always trying to do new things all the time.
He is considered one of the leading figures among the sculptors working in stone in Zimbabwe, and has received a number of awards and accolades for his work and his service to the humanity at large. In 2006, he presented his works to the late and former South African President Nelson Mandela for display at his office in Johannesburg.
I would just say I was so blessed, and it was wonderful. When I shook Nelson Mandela's hand, I just imagine what he would have left in my hands, So it was quite a great opportunity for me in life, and I will cherish that for life.
In the same year, Benhura was also commissioned by the United Nations Development Program in Zimbabwe to produce the work entitled Peace. He has been passing on his 4 decades of sculpting skills experience to boys and girls from communities in and around Harare at his Dominic studio in Greendale, Harare. Most importantly, he does outreach support programs to art centers in Chitungwiza, Tafara Mavuku art centers, as well as individuals by providing them with stone materials and tools. Busloads of school and university students visit his studio regularly to learn sculpting with their teachers and for guidance in the sculpting career. A former board member of the National Gallery of Zimbabwe, he has also done lectures at UBC in Vancouver and Conwell Museum in Florida, including many other places in the United States. Many have been assisted, including disadvantaged students from primary school until they complete university education.
Tell us about adopting a school.
I don't know. It's maybe with journalists they said adopting, but it's more of a school where I went to when I did my was a Kambaram school I was referring to.
Yeah.
So I did my grade 1 there. So they invited me for a prize giving day as a guest of honor there. So that's when then I discovered there was no electricity, there was no. There were no computers, but it was before the computers were very much.
So you're just giving back to where you came from?
Yes. So, then I had to build a library there.
Hey everybody, Dave Forehand, Dallas Arboretum. I'm here on the Paseo Forest and I have a special guest with me today. It's Dominic Benhura. Dominic's a world-acclaimed sculptor from Zimbabwe. We're going to have him here at the Arboretum until June the 27th. Each day at 2, he'll be giving a talk. He's known around the world for his amazing sculptures. There's one right behind us. Dominic, welcome. So glad to have you here.
My pleasure to be here.
Good. How was your trip?
The trip was nice and long.
Yeah.
As always, but I've been to America several times, so it was great.
Wonderful. Well, we're glad to have you back here at the Arboretum. This is a special time for us. We've got over 25 of Dominic's sculptures here. Really beautiful one behind me called Acrobats. Just so interesting, how did you get started in sculpture? What was your inspiration?
It was, I grew up in a rural area, Marewa, in Zimbabwe. I used to mold with clay. Then that was 40 years ago. Then I came in contact with stones. Then I've been doing it ever since.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So what's your inspiration for a lot of the pieces?
For a lot of the pieces, I'm more biased towards family themes, I celebrate life. I want to see happy pieces, happy world, especially the mothers and children by themselves. So I'm inspired by mothers and children of the world.
Okay, that's why I can see so many. When I look, I think it's just joyfulness and just playfulness, and all of these pieces are really nice. You're really going to want to come see these. They're just fantastic, along with all the other artists that are represented here at the Arboretum as well. This weekend special, it's Father's Day. Got some great activities. We have a classic car club that's out with over 20 classic cars for the dads, and there's free iced tea for all the fathers this weekend. So come to Dallas Arboretum, enjoy Sculpt, meet Dominic, and just have a great time. Dominic, thank you. Can't wait to see everybody, have a good time with you here at the Arboretum. And folks, stay healthy and well. See you soon. Dave Forehand.
Now, May the 14th was declared the Dominic Benhura Day by Carmel. It's a small city in Indiana. Tell me a little bit more about that, because that's amazing, really. An American city declaring a day, a Dominic Benhura Day. That's huge.
Yeah. I realized. Those are some of the things which you never plan, because what happened is just before COVID. Because I used to do some shows also in Indiana and the different parts of America. So I think the city just, because they collect art as well for public display. So they also collect from international artists. So I think they've been following me for some time. So they really liked my work and my profile. So they commissioned me to do a piece for public display in this, right down in the city, in the main street. Actually, it's called the main street. So I did this sculpture. So I was supposed to go there in 2020, I think, for installation, but then COVID came. So eventually they decided to, when COVID was over, nearly over like now, they invited me to come over for the installation. So when I was at the same time having a show in Ohio. So I went to Camille, hoping just to go and install my sculpture and then come back. But then when I got there, they invited me for lunch. I'd never met some of the park people and the city people. So also I had the mayor wanted to meet me, but then he did some mayoral things in France where he was living. So he asked me to come to his office before he left. He was leaving the following day before the installation. So I went to the office. Then they told me, no, you know what, they've seen my profile, they've seen my work, and they thought it's quite inspiring, and it would be good to honor me in that way. So it was really a pleasant surprise. I never expected it. Yeah.
It's really truly amazing, and really it's an honor to all us Zimbabweans. When we see one of our own being honored in a manner like that by cities in America or anywhere in the world, it's a huge honor to everybody, and we're proud and we thank you for the work that you're doing. Now, tell me, you are married. Tell me about your children, because that's another piece. You've got twin daughters.
Yeah, I'll start with the youngest one, who is right here.
Yeah.
My youngest is, he'll be 18. He's doing his, he says I'm 18. Okay, he's 18 now. He's doing his A-levels at St. John's School.
Okay.
Then I've got another daughter. She's 22 now. She just finished a law degree at UP in South Africa. She's back here. She's working for an American company online here.
She's a lawyer.
She's a lawyer. Yeah, she since A-level, she's been doing distinctions. Even at the degree, she got distinctions. So she's going to further as a lawyer. But for now, she's working. Then I've got a son who is doing his own. He was at Monash in South Africa. Then he decided to come back. He's doing some trading. He's an entrepreneur doing his own stuff online. He seems to be having.
You said he did some finance, some business finance kind of thing at Monash University?
Actually, he's very good with IT, but when he decided to come back, he left school. So he decided to start his own trading thing. So he's been doing it for a while, and he seems to be doing very well. So he's always stuck in his room doing his stuff. He's doing some trading. And he seems I think it's working for him, yeah.
What about the twins?
The twins also, one of them was at UP, University of Pretoria again. She did psychology degree first, then she decided to go, she wanted to go and further abroad, so she went to Poland, Krakow. That's where she is. She has been there for 5 years now. Then somewhere down the line, she changed her mind. She's now doing fashion design. She's the closest artist to me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. She's an artist, right?
Yeah, then the other one is studying she was studying in, she did her first degree in Cape Town. Then she went to Shanghai.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, she was doing Chinese. She's studying languages, Chinese, French, and English.
She's artistic as well.
Yeah. So when the Chinese president came to Zimbabwe a few years ago, so we were just talking, the embassy wanted their president to visit my place because they knew about it. So they wanted it to be the cultural place where you would visit of all the places. So yeah.
Did you know that your child was going to school in China?
No. It was before she went to. That's how she ended up in China. Because then we were just talking. Then I told them my daughter is also studying Chinese. So they said, we'll give you a scholarship because we want to work with you. Because the president, our president, to come to your studio. When he came to Zimbabwe, as a cultural visit. So that's how they gave her a scholarship for 2 years. Then I took over later. So that's how she ended up being in Shanghai. But for now.
You know what's very impressive is you actually gave your children, obviously they are equally as smart as you were, brilliant, academically quite gifted, I should say. And they all went to university, they did their own thing, but you have given them a chance to pursue their own, desires and their own calling, just like you did, right? And which I think is fantastic. So you have a total of how many kids?
5.
5 kids. That's amazing. And the youngest is the young man who is in the young man in the office.
Who is with me? Yeah.
Do any of your children do any of this? Did they ever try to do sculpting or just move around to see what you're doing? Like the girls also wanting to.
I think they're very much interested in the administration. Like now, they help me with all these things,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to worry about. Like my eldest son is very good with IT, even him. So I don't have to worry with a lot of even keeping and stuff. They help me. They're very much involved in taking photographs of my work, posting them on
yes,
on social media and stuff. Yeah, so they're very helpful. Yeah,
that's good. I'm gonna show your gallery, a picture of your gallery, some of the pieces you have at home and in your gallery. As you said, you're doing some stuff with color. I see that. I like that.
I like that. Yeah, it might be going to California, I think.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. This is serious stuff, Dominic. You've done amazing stuff. I mean, you look at all those accolades, and you did tell me that you've got who is it? Johnny Cliff,
Jimmy Cliff, yeah.
Jimmy Cliff. I'm sorry.
Hmm.
Those are your buddies. Those are friends of yours, right?
No, he's got some of my work, yeah.
Who else? Tell me some of the international people who've got some of your work. Someone was asking here, do you have anything at the Atlanta airport? Do they have any of your stuff at Atlanta airport?
Actually, Atlanta airport is good. Yeah, they do. They do. Actually, I went to install. It's a group of Zimbabwean. We are several artists there. I think maybe 12. But I was the one who actually went and curated it together with the curator there. Yeah.
Because I saw that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Someone said, I saw that he has a piece at an airport in Asia. Can he tell us about that as well? Do you have something in Asia?
Yeah, I do. I think it's South Korea.
South Korea.
Yeah, South Korea. And Singapore as well. It's good.
Okay. That's a beautiful. That Chang airport is beautiful. So you've got a piece in there.
Yes. Because what happens sometimes, we don't know where some of these pieces go, because also the dealers don't want us to communicate directly with the clients, sometimes. Okay. Yeah. But sometimes we get to know, but sometimes we don't, yeah.
Have you ever run into your piece somewhere where you didn't expect to see it? Or mostly, you kind of know where they
mostly are. I know. Yeah, I know where they are. I might have some rough ideas sometimes, yeah.
I don't know. Someone here goes, I almost missed my flight at Atlanta looking at some of those pieces of yours. That's interesting. And Messi says amazing. And someone says splendid. Bobby says splendid. And Miriam said these are beautiful pieces. And Tandy said this is just beautiful work. And the art of networking on merit. She's talking about how the Chinese the president there came to your place and then you run into people, and of course they appreciate the stuff that you're doing, right?
Yeah, they do.
So your aunt, tell me a little bit more about your aunt, because I know, as you said, most of your work is about family, and it means a lot because you were raised by a single mom then, your mother and your aunt, your dad's sister. Is she still around? It's unfortunate your mom passed away just at the brink when you were starting to make it big, but there is a purpose for people who come in our way, and sometimes children come through us, they are not ours. Your father didn't get to see you because you were supposed to be there, and your mother, maybe she was not there to enjoy the monetary whatever that came from your gift, but you were supposed to be there and you had to come through her. So tell me about your aunt. Where is she, and what does she do, and what's your relationship with her?
My relationship with her is so fantastic. Actually, I was with her in Mrewa 2 days ago. I think the love she had me back then and now is just the same.
Still the same.
And she's somebody I feel she doesn't love me for material things, but she just feel, I think she's so attached to me. I think she feels so sorry for me because I was left by a brother in my mother's home. So the way I feel the love which she offered me back then, and now it's the same. She loves me so much. Yeah.
Do you ever make any sculptures for her, or for your family, for like your wife? Have you ever made anything for your wife specifically for her, or any of your children? Or
honestly, no. But I think with the way things are going now, I think I would like to start putting aside a collection. I had a collection which I thought I would give for my family. But then brother Mtukutu, I was very close to him, actually. He decided to take them to his Pakarepaya center.
Okay.
So that was okay with me. Then those are the pieces which remain in the country. I loved that idea because we don't get collectors within our country. So I thought that would be good. Maybe at some point it would be a reference point of what we did during our lifetime. So he's got some monumental pieces which I wanted to keep for my family, but he wanted them. But I thought that's the best way to retain some of the pieces, because most of them they go out. Our market is overseas, not here much. Except we have got a few people now collecting, but they are not many. they don't really appreciate it. I think so far so good. I think the problem is because art is not taken seriously at school. We should actually encourage maybe children at a tender age to learn art. Like that happens overseas mainly. That's why we get a lot of these private schools bringing their kids to learn. But maybe because they have got the resources, they have buses to bring those kids. I think maybe our government should do something about it.
In fact, that's where my other question was going to be: how you view the world of art and where we come from, where maybe we don't realize that it's a calling. It's something. I can't just wake up and want to take stones and make it. It's in you, and as you said earlier on, you do not do anything to get there. It's in you, and when the calling is there, it will call you, and you find yourself doing it. But it's all about encouraging people to do that. Even the arts, when we were growing up, we always had the grandmothers who used to mold hari or poto, those kind of things in the village. But maybe we didn't even take it seriously that they do have a third eye. They have the art in them. Or people who paint in the homes and painting inside and outside the house with colors. We don't look at it that. Look at in South Africa, they are really huge about stuff like that. They do necklaces, they do earrings, they do with beads. All that is art. It's not something that you can teach somebody, but there are some people who can do it without even reading a book, without even telling them this is a 1, 2, 3, 4 to get into it, because it's in them. So I suppose the encouraging kids who sort of show signs of being that way inclined, to encourage them to do that, and not to. People have a tendency, you should all be academic. Not really. Not really. I mean, if it's all about money, look at you. You didn't finish your Form 5, but the money is there. It will follow you. And I think it's something that should be encouraged in our educational system and our government, to give opportunities to children who have who show signs of being gifted in that way.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But I'm sure the Minister of Arts, Sports and Culture is very much interested in this. Yeah, we've been talking, and they are very. I think it will get there.
I think we will. Being interested and really doing something about it is two different things. But I think with people like yourselves who are role models, who can actually, show them that you can start from somewhere, but if you have an interest in it and build on it and then learn more from those who are in it, it could go a long way for those people who are gifted that way. Yeah,
because what I'm saying is definitely we are interacting more than ever before now along those lines, and I think they're hands-on.
And also listen, exposure.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, they listen, and also exposure to what other people are doing. People with the gift of art. And I one of my guest speakers, a good friend of mine, Dr. Solomon Guramatunu, told us about the work that you're doing and how he I think has sort of been somebody who motivates you. And tell us about your relationship with Dr. Guramatunu and some of the work that you've been doing.
With Dr. Guramatunu, I think, I don't know how we met, but I've known him for many years, and he's been collecting my work over a very long period of time. So he's somebody whom I told my vision about the future. He's very supportive. I would like to get into details, but he's a collector, and not just for me, but I know he does a lot of things for people. He wants to see people, wants to get to another level. He always helps them with advice. He's very smart. So for me, he's more like a brother. I knew his father very well. I know his brother. I can go to his house and we didn't know, which is great, and share ideas. He's somebody who has made successfully as a person. And also, that's the other trick to success. A lot of artists, if you have wrong friends, you're not going to make it. Choose the right people in your life. So I always look for people who inspire me, like I used to do. We're very close, and I look for those people. If I get the opportunity, I get close to them. And also it protects me. They've got a reputation which I would like to protect for them,
Yeah.
interact with them, which helps me as a person too. So
Dominic,
those are. Mhm.
what keeps you grounded?
Grounded.
What is it that keeps you grounded? Because I mean, if it was somebody else, you've made it big. You're actually a very rich man, and in more ways than one. But what is it that keeps you grounded, that you are willing to come and speak to us on Kanoi Wanyai, a small podcast? What is it that keeps you still as a man from Murewa, and who can talk to us just like an ordinary person?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything special about me, because it's just an opportunity. I was the right, maybe I'm always, or maybe by grace, I'm always at the right place at the right time. So maybe I could be I could be the gardener. Maybe my gardener would have been my boss. So that's the way it is. So there's nothing special. Life is a cycle. My parents were very poor, and now I'm there. Maybe my kids might be whichever way. So there's nothing special. We're just had opportunities which others have, but maybe their time is coming. There's even the Bible, they says there's a time for, there's a season for everything. Mm-hmm. So by grace, I've been so lucky since the age of 10 up to now. Things have been going very well. Sometimes you have ups and downs, but God always props me up, brings the right people to prop me up.
Brings the right people in your life, and propels you to greater heights.
Yeah, just like this, when I'm talking, maybe I'm going to meet new friends, maybe clients, or just friends. It's nice to have people you can interact with, and share, and who become your fans. Which is great. Yeah.
Well, today was just an amazing afternoon to just talking to you and just hearing your story, and to me, this is very special, because a lot of times we see people who have made it and we don't know their stories, just the ordinary stories, because you think of them as huge, and you just think of huge. You don't know the small stories that they can tell you, that you used to kufudza mombe and making mombe zemavu, right? You had no idea that was part of sculpturing, right? You didn't know. You didn't know you were a sculptor. You were just playing. You were just there. I don't think there was any moment you paused and think, I could do this for life. I don't think so. You were just playing.
Yeah, it's true. Even now, I still treat it as a hobby. Because otherwise, if you think you're big, you might go down. Because who knows? Because once you feel you are big, then there's a problem there. How do you judge it? Because to get to where I am, I didn't know. Maybe God wants me to be higher than where I am. So there's nothing. So I think I'm still learning.
You're still learning. You're still learning. Yeah. But your life is in stones. Your life is in stones, making life out of stones, and creating pieces which are all over the world, something that you never ever could have imagined, that you'd have pieces in Asia, you have pieces in Australia, in New York, and everywhere else. But you know what? It's your gift, and pursue it. And thank you so much for getting time to speak to Sangwadzi this afternoon, and have our followers listen to your story, the story of the man who is an ordinary person who has made extraordinary success around the world. Thank you so much. And, for all those people who are following us, thank you a lot for spending the afternoon and listening to us speak to Dominic, and him telling us his story from the humble beginnings of Murewa to all parts of the world. I mean, he's been everywhere. His pieces are everywhere. He's recognized everywhere. And talking of Atlanta, there you go there, you see a piece, it's a Benhura piece. You go to Asia, you see, you go to Changi Airport in Singapore and you see a Benhura. It's amazing. And to me, what's most amazing is how he's so grounded and just an ordinary person. Thank you, Dominic. And for everybody, you have a wonderful afternoon. And for those back in Zimbabwe and South Africa, good evening to everybody. And those in Canada and here where we are, have a fantastic afternoon. And thank you so much. This is your broadcaster, your hostess, Sangwadzi Spiweka Chizamapfuma. I'll see you next week. We'll bring another person who started, again, these are hobbies which have turned into businesses. I've got a wonderful woman who is coming next week. She lives in Australia. Follow me. I'll be on Sunday. I'll be right here. Have a fantastic evening.